Know her of the Peterson family, the musical Peterson family, and she is bringing her gifts here today. Not just her musical gifts, but those spiritual gifts too. She had a life-changing event a while back where her life was relatively threatened, and she came back and helped jumpstart some of her spiritual journey. And we are very fortunate to have her experience and have her in this service. Patty?
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have my rock star microphone on for the second time in my life. Can you hear me okay? Am I good? Is it good? Okay. For some reason, kept going like this, and I was goofing it up. Don't touch it, Patty. Don't touch it, Patty. Welcome, everyone, on this gorgeous morning. Thank you for being here. How many saw my Facebook post? Woohoo! How many saw the Facebook post from Lake Harriet Spiritual Community about this gathering every single week? Yay! How many saw Mary Harris's? Nice! See, social media is working. Oh, yeah, you can make it work for you. There, I can hear myself. That's fabulous. I always find out a couple, 3 weeks ahead of time what the topic is, no matter if I'm singing in a church or if I'm speaking. And I have to say that this one was one word, and I'm not sure if you've been here every Sunday if they've brought this up, but I'm going to assume that they have, and that is the word surrender. And we're going to talk a little bit about surrender and how, really, for us New Agers, no, we're not New Agers, but anyway, when I read all of the stuff in order to prepare for a talk, it's funny how, there's a tiny little spin that can be put on different thoughts for what might be a negative something or other, like the word surrender. So we'll get into that in just a little while, but you think about what just occurred yesterday about 2 o'clock or so, and that was the solstice, or the equinox, the vernal equinox, the exact moment of the same amount of light and the same amount of dark, the epitome of balance between masculine and feminine. This is really a time that people feel a difference going on. There's 3 different falls that happen. One is in August when you're doing the first corn and you're just loving it and the tomatoes, and one is now, and then one is Samhain, which is around Halloween. And those we'll talk about a little bit as well too, but it's all about what is the better example than fall and surrender and replanting and regrowth and rebirth, but talking about fall and surrender. I mean, it's right there for us. So I don't want to talk much more because I really would love to start this kind of like a meditation, but probably knowing Mary, it's going to be a joyous meditation. And sometimes when I'm here, I'll sing instead of do a meditation. Sometimes I'll do a meditation. And if anybody's really feeling in the need for one today, I'm happy to do that. But I'd like to introduce my friend Mary Harris. And I met her, I'm going to say 20 years ago at the Women in Spirituality Conference in Mankato. And she was opening up this long weekend, which occurred during probably some of the beginning times of my spiritual growth. I had been thrown enough curveballs where my old way of believing I needed to unplug from and plug into. And the Women in Spirituality Conference really was there for me at the time that I needed. And who was opening it up but this joy-filled, abundant woman, talented, getting the crowd rocking, Mary Harris. And she's remained my friend. And if you ever see her Facebook post, it's all about, it's Tuesday, it's Good News Day, what do you have to say to me today? And you know what? You have to sit there and go, this is what is good news for me today, and it really keeps me focused. And she's so good about helping to keep you focused in her music, in her art, in her seminars, which ask her about, after the service if you want to. But I think with no further ado, I'd love to introduce you to Mary Harris and a song from her right now.
Thank you. With that introduction, I'm proud to be Mary Harris. Good morning.
I think that mic needs to get turned on, sweetie.
Okay.
So, save your message. Are you? I heard.
All right. Cool. Okay. I'm gonna start this song kind of mellow because I end up racing, so I'm just gonna see if I can hold it down a minute. And some of you have heard this before. I invite you to act like you've never heard it before, because we've never been in this moment before, right? And that one just went by. Lighten up, lighten up. Hey, Dave. Let the light in you come shining through. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. Let the beauty in you come shining through. Lighten up. You didn't know you were beautiful, right? You didn't know you were beautiful, right? You got to talk to me.
Yes, Mary.
All right.
And yes, Mary.
You're working hard 5 days a week from 9 to 5. Taking good care of yourself, trying your best to survive. Let me advise against one mistake. Don't take life too seriously. Give yourself a break. You got to look in the mirror and say, lighten up, lighten up. Let the light in you come shining through. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. Let the beauty in you come shining through. Lighten up. You're contemplating doing your spiritual exercises every day. Sometimes you're waiting for a miracle to come your way, yeah. Well, they begin by loving yourself and let your light shine on somebody else. So in closing to you, I say, woo, lighten up, lighten up. Let the light in you come shining through. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. Let the beauty in you come shining through. Lighten up, lighten up, lighten up. You say you can't pay your rent, 'cause all your money is spent. The gas and light bills due, and your baby needs some new shoes. Don't worry, don't worry. Oh, no. Just let the light in you come shining through. Lighten up. Let the beauty in you come shining through. Lighten up. Thank you, Patty.
See, I told you that in lieu of a meditation. Don't you feel just really great right now? I do. I feel really great right now. Now, she's singing today, so if I chime in, it's just because I'm moved to chime in just a little bit. Truthfully, I love to be able to sing and to speak it, but lighten up. It's like, it's the Mary Harris version of this little light of mine. I'm going to let it shine, right? It truly is. But I love the ad-libs at the end, that light bill. Lighten up, seriously, because it can get us so down to be looking at that way. Woke up this morning,
pay the bills.
I mean, seriously. Even whenever I start to hear somebody complaining, I always go, well, you kind of sound like a blues tune today. And they'll bring up another subject and I'll go, you know. So if you ever hear me do that, that's because I'm comfortable enough with that person to do that, and that they laugh a little bit, even though their complaints or challenges might be valid. It's, it's fun. Okay, this is what I found about the word surrender, okay? And you're going to love this. Surrender, to yield something to the possession or power of another. To surrender. To surrender meaning to surrender to something, the possession and the power to another person, another thing, okay? Deliver up possession of on demand or under duress. You have to surrender to something that you just have to do it because, it's such a negative entity. You have to surrender to the fort of the enemy. Surrender to the stolen goods to the police. Every time we hear this word. To give oneself up. To surrender. Like to the police or in a relationship. To a job that isn't satisfying you anymore, but you all know what that means, though, if you give yourself up to a point where you're given too much. To give yourself or oneself up to some influence, you give yourself up, you surrender to a particular course, to an emotion, etc. He surrendered himself to the life of hardship. I mean, there can be positive to this negative that I'm spinning, but to give up, to abandon, to relinquish comfort or hope or well-being in some way. To yield or to resign. You surrender, you yield, or you resign yourself to something. You acquiesce, like it's an office or a privilege, and it's usually as a result of the force of another. Okay? So if you look at the negative aspects of the word surrender, it doesn't have a very good feeling about it, does it? But when I was reading, there was one of the people involved in What the Bleep Do We Know that said, yeah, leave it to the New Agers, which is where I got that, to put a positive spin on surrender. And surrender really means, and we all talk about this, it becomes an art of becoming still during a time that could be perceived as a challenge. And really allowing enough time for you to come up with the right solution or not. Because if we have to have that solution figured out right there in the moment, that's trying to control the outcome. And the other times that I have talked, it's been about that as well. When you try to control the outcome of something, that means that you can't let it go. And that you think you have a perception of the way something is supposed to turn out. And if it doesn't, then you're going to be so unhappy. Well, the truth is, surrendering means not giving up. And I think that's what that negative connotation is. And if I can just share with you one thing today as you leave is, surrendering does not mean giving up. And that's where we take in the lessons of things like this fall, this vernal equinox. When aren't you re-energized by the crisp air? I mean, sadness definitely because we're looking at that glorious summer diminishing. But the colors, the kinds of things you want to cook all of a sudden. The sweaters, soup, I'm having my final barbecue of the season today. It's like, and then then that's it. I don't know if I'll barbecue again this summer or this, it's not summer, this fall, but the truth is it's really a coming to an end of something. This fall, this vernal equinox really means that, we have this opportunity to look past over the summer, the time of joy in the Chinese 5-element theory. Joy and passion and heat. Oh my, I guess we wished for that a lot this summer, didn't we? But we get to look at what we have manifested and what we were able to create through the course of the summer and feel good about that. And just like the times when you would do the big harvest, you would go up in August, let's say, with your first batch of corn, and you would bury it really deeply for the deities to bless you, and there were rituals that went on with that. And now, of course, is this second harvest that we speak of in this fall. And let's see, I think it was, is it Lusana? No, wait a minute, something like that. I wrote it down because I knew I wasn't going to remember, but I would hear my girlfriends talk about these different times of fall. Sure, and now I'm missing a page. That doesn't work. Doesn't matter. Anyway, this really is a time where we can look at the intelligence of what really is happening, though, with this fall, with crops, with the dying down, with the surrendering of the leaves onto the ground. There is always a higher purpose to it all. And in the fall is the time of going within. It's truthfully in the winter, but you're beginning to think about all of that. But because there are equal times of light and day, you're still able to look at the joy and the fun and the things you did over the summer. But then you also know there's a part of your being that knows that you're going into this winter time of hibernation, where you begin to think about what it is you want to accomplish within the next year. You spring forward in the spring, you live your life of joy and warmth and childlike energy in the summer, and then back in the fall, the next season is when you appreciate what you have done in the year and you begin to plan for the next year. So we humans do follow this season, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We have the opportunity to have television on all night if we want. My husband likes that. The minute he's asleep, I turn it off. Or things that don't really create that sense of the seasons coming our way. We have that ability to fabricate light and joy and happiness all the time. But the truth is, I don't think our bodies can argue with what's really going on. There's a quieting starting to happen, don't you think? Now, I don't know about you, but how many feel like they had a great summer even though it was really hot? Good. Look at that. That's fabulous. Now, you're saying that in a place where, 3 steps down and you're around one of the more beautiful lakes, and not very many steps is another one, and not very many steps is another one. So you really are here because you probably appreciate the beauty of nature that's in this vicinity. And in the fall is that essence of crispness, whether you're crunching leaves, or you're crunching an apple, or you're looking at the colors of an orchard, or a pumpkin patch. But it re-stimulates this ability to want to plant. And you know that some of these things are occurring right now without anybody actually doing the planting. This essence of life is going to continue. And Deepak Chopra, who I love, and I've talked about this before, this is one of my favorite books because every time I've read it over the last 20 years, it has something else to say. He talks a lot about, in the 7 spiritual laws of success, this one is the law of least effort. And in the law of least effort, you try to live from that place where it isn't from a place of attachment to the outcome. And it gets a little confusing when we talk about the law of attraction and the attachment to the outcome. I know that can be really confusing for people. That you visualize, you plant your seed, you stay there, you may have experiences that are showing you, oh, well, that's not what I want, but you still get that validation to continue to walk towards the light. And in that place of hibernation, fall into winter, when you're manifesting those ideas, those seeds are growing, and they will spring forth. So I'm going to probably screw up my headset here, but here. Nature's intelligence functions with effortless ease, with carefreeness, harmony, and love. And when we harness the forces of harmony, joy, love, we create success and good fortune with effortless ease. And that's this 4th spiritual law of success, the law of least effort. Based on the fact that nature's intelligent functions with effortless ease and abandoned carefreeness, it just happens. It just happens. We think that we can have control over something, and sometimes stuff just happens. And how you react to it is either you want to try to control that situation, which is the fight and flight, and sometimes there is that possibility. But if that possibility isn't there, then you surrender. And in that time of surrender, you allow. And when you allow, things come to you from a place of peace and hopefully knowingness, so that the most brilliant is the word it's not the exact right word. The thing that's going to lead you to your next thing becomes shinier like stars in a sky. Does that make sense to you? And if you are in a place of peace and you've talked through all the possibilities and you detach, you surrender, same thing in this book too, pretty soon one of those ideas manifests. I've talked about this with some of my friends in here. And one shines more and comes forward. And you move your energies towards that. Just like the seeds that are planting right now, and will really be planted during the end of October. The least effort is expended when your actions are motivated by love. Because nature is held together by the energy of love. When you seek power and control over other people, you waste your energy, right? I'm sure we can all say that. When you seek money or power for the sake of your ego, you spend energy chasing the illusion of happiness instead of enjoying the happiness in the moment. Law of least effort is exactly what this surrendering piece is about. You're welcome to look at my book after this too. 3 things to the law of least effort. You can do this. It's a do less, accomplish more. You can do this and you can put it into action, and you can just trust that the universe is going to support you. Now, my husband and I disagree about that. You have to be a part of what you're doing. You can't just lay there and let it come to you. But I think that he's right. I think that there's a part of him that is truly right, because I can't get that vision and that twinkly star and not do something about going towards it. I have been asked to have a message revealed. I've talked about all the options, and then I've waited. And if that idea comes to me stronger, or the people become aligned to make that idea something that I can co-create with them, if I didn't do something about it, then I wouldn't be planting the seeds to what I have been envisioning. The law of attraction. Does that make sense? But you will know if you trust yourself, if you trust your gut, if you lead with your intuition. Trust your gut was my, I don't know, it was a couple of talks ago. You know. And the right people keep coming your way. But you have to also take that minute. It's like, I'm really bad about this. I'm going through something with my mom right now where she has been very ill, and I have been her, caregiver most of the time. And by the end of the day, although she's getting stronger and improving, and she's a brilliant jazz artist, if you know who she is, I'm really tired. And I'll make the mistake of sitting at my computer one last time. And sometimes I send things I have no business sending. And it isn't a drunk call. It's not a what do they call that, email? It's none of that. It's just that I could have probably been a lot more fresh in the way that I articulated that in an email, which is so non-emotional. Why didn't you wait for just a second? So I think that whole piece, I'm talking to myself when I say this too, is I have to chill for a minute, the kids say. Chill. My youngest is almost 20, so I can say this. I can also say whatever. My sister, I say that so much, bought me a coffee mug and sent it to me and it says, whatever, across the front of it. I love it. It's my coffee mug. But anyway, how many people are guilty of doing that? I'm not even going to say if you're buzzed. I'm just saying if you're too tired and you do one more thing and you realize the next day, I should never have done that. Have you guys done that before? Yeah. Okay. Well, sometimes we have to get ourselves out of those things, don't we? And I know that in a fit of wanting to control something, or you're angry and you haven't processed it enough so that when you have to speak back to someone, you do it from a place of balance. Guilty. I've done it. Okay. The halo is there, but no, it's not really. I'm as normal as the next person. I'm as corny as Kansas in August. Somebody wanted me to sing today. Anyway, back to my mother. I have been given an interesting gift with her right now. This time of surrender for me has really shown me something completely different. And that is the contrasts that we talk about in the law of attraction that arrive in our lives are there, and they're challenging and they're hard, and I don't want them to happen, and I want to fix them, and I want them out of my mouth. Truthfully, you know what they're doing is they're giving you this so you know what not to choose in your life. Have a brighter light around what you should choose in your life, probably what you've already been imagining, you've been, meditating on, if you're into that kind of a thing. But with my mom, it's been really hard because she has become someone else. And I want her back. I want that vivacious, brilliant, game to do anything, 91-year-old woman back. And I can't have her. I'm getting parts of her back. I'm getting her to practice with me a little bit, playing piano. It's slow, but it isn't in the time frame that I want it. About a month after her bleed in her leg, that came from blood thinners, and thank God, she was hospitalized and then in rehab. But we decided, okay, we're going to take her to the beach, my sister's condo, and see if the ocean air doesn't help her heal a little. She slept 90% of the time. And my sister's cool. Linda, you've met her. She says, Patty, she's got jet lag. I went, oh. I wanted to control how much my mom was sleeping because I was scared, It was, I couldn't help her. I've had a rhythm with her since my dad died when I was 14. I don't have a rhythm with her right now. I think we're getting back to one. But what was presented to me during this trip was this mother sleeping all the time, and my sister and I on that first day trying to roust her, trying to get her to step out of the condo to look at the ocean. She wouldn't do it. She would not do it. So the first day, Linda and I, luckily for our brains, we walked the beach. And I drank caffeine that day. That's a big no-no. I didn't realize I was just like this, walking the beach. And I really had to separate myself. And in that one day of crying together and talking about all of the possibilities, by the next day, we have let go and let our mom do what she needed to do. But I needed to hear my sister say something simple like, she's got jet lag. It's like she's got jet lag. If you have to sleep that much, you have to sleep that much. And I went, oh, like I wanted to control what was going on. But that piece of information helped to shift who I am. And because I was given that, I got a different perspective. And Mom slept most of the time, was awake and sweet, and had a huge day flying back, and then went back into sleeping. And as time has gone on, some things have changed medically. She's getting stronger, longer waking periods. I'm insisting she come out of the house. We got her nails done the other day. We went and had pizza and heard jazz. And so you see, not my will, but thy will be done. Isn't that interesting? I had an attachment to the outcome of how I want my mom to be because I was scared, I'm her kid. I wasn't ready for that. But it also gave us the opportunity to see her. For those of you who study, spiritual development and psychic abilities and whatever, when she was sleeping, was somewhere else. You seen that? Have you done that? She was communing in her own way, and in her own way, making ready. And you could, if you woke her up, she still wasn't there. She wasn't there. But that isn't happening anymore. So I'm not really sure, besides resting, what that was about. I have what I want. I'm starting to get my mom back. It's different. She's still in her house. I'm staying with her 80% of the time, sleeping over, whatever. But I'm watching her, and she's coming back to participating in life. And so, for me, I had a little attachment to that outcome, didn't I? But what it did for me by surrendering to the simple thing my sister said was give me the gift of time to either let her go or accept her back, whoever she is right now. And she has some memory issues, but until you put her right there, she remembers it all. That's one of the reasons I have seen surrender work in my life in this summer. Anytime I get into a conversation with somebody who's really going through, I have this opportunity to say what I have learned in my studies of the law of attraction. And that is, aren't you happy you're going through that stuff? And they look at me like I'm nuts. I had this with my babysitter yesterday. I said, no, seriously, because you do not want that. That is crazy. You don't want that. You now know how to choose in that law of attraction philosophy. You know how to go about it. You know that what you don't want, that contrast that is being shown to you, it shows you the light of who and what you are and how you want to live and how you rightfully, as a child of God, can live, should live, will live, okay? So this act of surrender, this art of letting go, Kenny Loggins actually wrote about it. And he said probably one of the most clever things in his lyrics. I loved this. It was about 20 years ago. And I have a friend in the audience who used to do a lot of work with him. And he wrote two of the hippest CDs that nobody ever requests tunes for. Kenny Loggins. He sat at a picnic my friend had put on and said, because I'm going, I love this music. It's The Leap of Faith and The Unimaginable Life. Did anybody ever hear those? Oh, yeah. Okay. Some of my favorite Kenny Loggins music. And he's like, no one requests it. Anyway, he wrote this song called The Art of Letting Go. And we're going to play it after Mary does the last song. And I realize I'm just sort of flowing today, so I'm not keeping an eye on the time. Some of the lyrics are, there are times when love soaks you to the bone, and those moments leave you wondering if you'll lose your mind or lose control, right? Dark contrast. Life is nothing without love. Love is nothing if not freedom, if you don't have freedom in that love. Hope and pray you'll find the one thing on your mind, not until you know the art of letting go. And it may seem to be defying gravity. That's because they know it's the art of letting go, defying gravity. If you ever have a person walk into your path that just is very light, they have learned that art of letting go. It doesn't mean they haven't had a pack full of lessons in their life. They've learned to manifest that ability of surrender and art of letting go. You may think you built a present perfect world. And you may wonder to yourself, does anyone really know what else could ever matter than this perfect world that you're building? Does the rich man know he's poor? Really? This is where the questions come. Does the beggar care for much more than survival? And you look into the eyes of the child laughing. Do you remember who you were or who you are? That's why I love the greatest love of all. And again, he says, life is nothing without love, and love is nothing if not freedom. Freedom to love and to be. The end of it has this great vocal harmony, which anybody who loves Take Six, these vocalists got together in the studio and did this incredible, I don't know how many part harmony. Just I would sit in my car and turn it up and listen to it. And I remember interviewing him on CCO going, it's my office. I listened to him. He goes, oh, you're one of those. You listen at that level. You can't go through it without going through it till it goes through you, until you know the truth. You can't go through it without going through it. So in other words, you can't stop the flow. You can't stop the seeds being planted in this fall right now. They're going to manifest and rise up come next spring. They are going to spring forward, and they are going to be in the hot summer of joy again. And so are you. But when you learn the art of letting go and that essence of surrender, that shining star is going to come to you. There will be several stars in the sky of the things that you have intended in your life that you would like to see happen. But mark my words, one of them becomes shinier. One of them, this is just the way I have to explain it because I don't have the other words. I see it, I visualize it, but one of them does happen and it does come forward. And it is that essence of what to do next. Back to what my husband said. You have to be involved in what it is that you do. You can't just allow and think it's going to happen. Well, he's absolutely right. Once you see that thing that you visualized, once you have that thing that you want to attract into your life, that secret, that what the bleep, that energy, once you see that twinkle a little more, you know of the 5 things that you've put in your intention and desire, that it's time to work with that. And the people in your life that are supposed to help you co-create it appear. Now, that doesn't mean that, okay, that's it, that's good, wow, that's great. No, that could be that you have another challenge to learn, and that's going to become a part of what you don't want in your life. You know what I'm saying? But these are all the tools of learning how to surrender. But you have to trust the flow. I haven't said any of that today. There is an essence, and there is a God energy that is in everybody's life, and you are a child of God. Why shouldn't you be given? If you believe, all of these songs that are written about the flow and changing your vibration into believing that it's going to happen and staying there, even with the static, even with the tributaries in the river of life. We get stuck in them sometimes, don't we? But we can surrender and we can trust that by planting those seeds of who and what we are, they will manifest and grow and eventually spring forth and have joyful times, just like the seedlings are right now. So in this time of equal feminine and equal masculine, when it comes to the same amount of light as there is darkness, my prayer and my thought for you is that when it is extremely dark and we have so very little light, that the light that we were experiencing today, in this moment, in this time, in this crunchy-leaved, colorful, beautiful vernal equinox time, that you hold that light and the vision of that light within your heart. And you feel that essence of love and energy. And have that carry you through the dark times of no light because of where we're at with our calendar, and the dark times of the challenges that will get you through. And that light, that star will shine and come to you. Acknowledge the times that are contrast. I won't even say dark, that are contrasting to who and what you are. And be open and ready for that next space, that next place, that place of surrender where we receive and we accept. So I hope for you that you will enjoy this day. You will tuck away the essence and you look at the colors deeper today. I'll tell you, that's what I did after my heart event. I was already on the path, and I thought I stopped and smelled the roses. But it made me stop and smell longer. If you get in that place, and some of you probably have gotten into this place where sometimes the sky is bluer than you ever remember it. You know what I mean? And the grass is greener, and the smell after they cut the grass is amazing. Or the leaves that are starting to gather, there's a earthy, musky smell to it. And sometimes all of those senses are heightened. And I hope that for you today. I hope that you embrace this time Because in the next 3 months, we're coming to December 2012. And I think we're all excited to see, what is it that they've been talking about? What is this new energy? Well, I think we're in it. And I think we're going to see a lot of contrast between now and then with the election. But, you know, politics can be made peaceful within inside each and every one of us. And we can make the politics of what we live every day a part of our lives. Because it happens with us, you know. We might be the smaller or quieter voice, but not the smaller voice. So, okay, I think it's time for me to say thank you very much. And my prayer for you, as I said, look at the things deeper, smell them deeper. Surrender, you learn your own art of letting go, and know that you will rise up with these brilliant ideas after a little hibernation time. And allow. And if in that allowing you still have contrast, you're still getting the signs on your path of where you need to be, okay? And live your gift. Don't forget about your gifts. Don't forget about your gifts. And in reminding you of that, I want to reintroduce my friend, my gift, Mary Harris. Thank you. Thank you.
You feel like singing? Okay, good. I wrote a little ditty. Hi, baby. I wrote a little ditty the other day. Well, I guess it's a ditty. It feels like a ditty. Just for today. So I'll sing a line. I'm going to sing Let Go, and you just repeat. I'll say Let Go, and then you sing it, and it'll all work out, okay? So it goes like this. Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is let go.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
Move on.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is move on.
is move on.
Groove on.
Groove on.
Groove on.
Groove on.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is groove on.
is groove on.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is let go.
What I get to do.
What I get to do
Is let go.
is
Let go. Nice, very nice.
And is it time for, we have our announcements all done and everything, is it time for our last song in the circle around the sanctuary? And Mary's going to give us a tune. Which tune would you like to do, girl?
Can we do a little bit of let go?
You want to do that? Okay, sure. Let me bring you your mic then.
No, I don't need my mic.
Oh,
I don't need a mic. I don't need a mic. Come on.
okay. All I need is you.
All I need is you.
All right, you've been taught the song we're going to sing at the end here. And if this is new for you, we just link up our energies at the end of it and reflect on the messages, on the vibration of positivity in this room that occurs every day, every Sunday, every day of the week. Get on the calendar. And so Mary is going to lead us in what she just taught us. And so I expect gusto. I see this twinkling light and the shining star of gusto singing coming my way and co-creating.
That's right. We did the mellow version, now we do the loud version.
Okay.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is let go.
is let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is let go.
is let go.
Move on.
Move on.
Groove on.
Groove on.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is move on.
move on.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
Let go.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is let go.
is let go.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is let go.
is let go.
What I get to do
What I get to do
is let go.
Have a great Sunday, everybody. I don't know if this is on or not, but thank you. God bless. And come back because great messages happen here all the time. Thank you.